Now, governance is another question I think that should be on the minds of people as you approach implementation. You are going to, there was mention of the Marin Power Authority. Cape Light Compact is the entity that was formed in Cape Cod. All the towns in Cape Cod joined it. And one of the great lessons that we learned from the formation of the Cape Light Compact is that we wished that the members had been elected. The trouble with creating new institutions is that often they're created by visionaries and then inherited by bureaucrats. So that inevitably, with a certain degree of inertia over time, these new institutions come under the governance of more conservative minds, and perhaps ones that are less interested in public purposes and more interested in the path of least resistance according to the special interests that they serve. That can be addressed through representative entities, and I would encourage a discussion in this county of having an elected governing board for the Marin Power Authority that will better ensure that in the long term its commitment to renewable energy remains as the public supports renewable energy. The power business is, can be safely said, the most Byzantine, least democratic, most oligarchic of all industrial sectors, and so it is very vulnerable to co-optation and manipulation, and one should safeguard against it just rationally. And so I would encourage a consideration of that. And then there's just sort of the notion of a portfolio approach to energy. That is that, you know, as I think some of the other speakers discussed. Oh, it was Carol, Senator Megden. Just this competition of the technologies that you have. There's the solar people who tend to be sort of the perfectionists. Then there are the wind people who tend to be the pragmatists, and the biofuels people, and there's the
geothermals.
The geothermals, right? And the truth of the matter is that no one technology will ever replace fossil fuels and nuclear power, and it's the diversification of the energy supply across all renewable energy technologies that together can restructure the energy supply. The real key, I often run into wind power people that say, why are you emphasizing solar so much? In San Francisco, we've really emphasized photovoltaics. I'm also a fan of the solar thermal concentrators, which are extraordinary technologies, more flexible in terms of locations that they're feasible than wind farms. You can build them in most sunny areas. They take less footprint. A few hundred acres buys you a very price competitive power plant, and so it's a very good idea. Really, though, you want a lot of photovoltaics, even though it's more expensive per watt hour than a solar thermal concentrator or a wind farm. Why? Because having a power generation on your roof beats the pants off of power generation 10 miles away. And so it's an investment in the same way that you don't just buy vegetables or meat or grains, you buy them all. You need the whole spectrum of resources. And so the portfolio approach to community choice facilitates this, because you have lower cost elements like wind power and conventional power. In fact, if you look at, even if you're on a schedule of rolling out a 50% renewable portfolio by 2017, you're still going to be purchasing a great deal of conventionally generated power from the market in the interim. And so in terms of the overall revenue to debt ratio, which would define the mechanism of a public works project, you are going to absorb the higher cost elements like photovoltaics into the lower cost elements, the wind and the conventional resources, and therefore you're able to roll them out on a larger scale without forcing that technology to compete on a price basis against utilities portfolio. So you've got a lot of the same advantages in planning your energy resources that a utilities had, but without all of the problems. Am I out of time?
Yeah, I was just about to jump in. Yeah. If you could wrap it up.
Great,
Thank
great.
you, Paul.
And so anyway, those are just sort of my thoughts about from the lessons learned so far, and I look forward to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul Fenn. Thank you. I want to introduce a couple people in the audience that have come in. Also, Greg Brockbank, trustee from College of Marin Board. Thank you, Greg, for being here. And Council Member Carol Dillon Knudsen from the Novato City Council.